So this is Steve here, and I'm about to go over part 2 of the overview of Sculptris. Well, in the last part we left off going over detail and how it increases the detail of your stroke and the more solidarity of your stroke. So now we're going to go over global and limits. Alright, first we're going to create a new sphere, a new scene. Alright, so what global does, let's start with global. Basically, it only affects these three tools: scale, rotate, and grab. If you have a global unchecked, it allows you to affect the object only. It only affects certain areas that you select on the object with these three tools. But if you have it checked, it grabs or rotates or scales the entire object. So if you have grab selected and you have global checked, it moves the entire object. But and as well, it scales the entire object if you select scale or rotates. Let's go to limits. Limits basically limits what you're able to do. Basically, if you have grab and you have limit selected, it limits the amount or area you move. But if you have it unchecked, you have less limitations on the distance and the amount of area you can move. Alright, so that's global and limits. Let's head over to reduce brush, reduce selected, subdivide all the rest of these tools. Alright, so the last overview tutorial, I went over that objects in Sculptris are composed of triangles. Well, what reduce brush does, it reduces the amount of triangles let me select it. You reduce the amount of triangles your object has. This tool will be most useful when you you have too many triangles. Like when you get to about 700,000 polygons, if you don't have like a graphics card or a dual core processor, your computer Sculptris will become slower when you sculpt, and it'll be kind of hard to sculpt and work. So this tool becomes useful in reducing polygons. Make sure when you're reducing the polygon number, you try to stay away from the areas you want the most detail. So just remember that. Alright, let's go over to reduce selected. Basically what this does, it reduces polygons throughout the entire object evenly. So if I have 10,576, I select reduce selected, it reduces polygons throughout the entire object. Subdivide all, it subdivides. It does the opposite of what reduce selected does. It increases the number of polygons, basically by probably 3 times the amount of polygons, to increase the detail, to give you more to work with. If you're not using detail, or you might use subdivide all when you're first starting off your object, and it triples or more your triangle level and gives you more to work with. Let's go to mask. First we're going to turn off wireframe. Mask. When you first use mask, make sure you click invert or hit control. Control is basically what invert does. If you hit control, it does the opposite. So I selected invert, and you draw. Let me subdivide first. If you use mask, it basically picks areas. Basically, you can pick areas where when you use the brushes, you don't affect. So if you have a mask and you use the inflate tool, when you draw, it doesn't affect those areas that you use. So that's what inflate mask does. And if you want to undo the mask, you uncheck inverse or hit control, and make sure you have mask reselected and draw off the mask. So that's that for mask and wireframe. Basically, wireframe shows you the triangle polygon grid of your object. And symmetry basically allows you, make sure you have this selected if you're trying to draw on two sides at once. Basically allows you to draw on both sides. If you're trying to do a character or whatever, it might be a lot easier to have symmetry always selected. Don't turn this off. If you turn it off, uncheck symmetry, it will only allow you to draw on one side of the object. Turn off wireframe. Only one side of the object, and not on the other side. And I'm not sure it will. Yeah, you can come back to it, but it only allows you to draw on one side of the object. So that's it for part 2 of the